This is definitely a boy speed bump. Super large water tank for foreign brothers. It took 100 days. Teach you how to create a desert at home. Ecosystem. Don't look at this desert world. It's not big, but the dangers and challenges inside are everywhere. The little brother can not only simulate the extreme weather in the desert, it will also continue to add various predators to maintain ecological balance. One day you create the world to find the materials that the desert needs. The desert foundation is dominated by gravel and soil, plus various rocks. Then start planting desert plants, although they are covered with poisonous spikes. But you are not afraid. It's just amputation. And finally, a layer of sand. And it forms the basis of a desert ecology. And then the actors are going to come on stage. The first group to enter was a swarm of dark beetles. As soon as they arrived in this new world, I started looking around for shade. After all, the desert heat during the day is unbearable. Don't find a suitable shelter. They had a hard time surviving the blazing heat of the day. Until nightfall, temperature drops. These beetles that have been hiding all day just started to reappear, gathered again, preparing for a momentous occasion. Even beetles that have died during the day, at this moment, it miraculously came alive. Join this mysterious prayer ceremony together. All the beetles seem to be frozen frames in time. It's like waiting for some kind of mysterious general. As a cold wind blows, a large amount of thick fog instantly drowned them all. Pretty soon, little droplets of water congealed on their backs. As these droplets run down the smooth back, these Coelidae beetles finally fully hydrated. It seems their existential crisis was temporarily alleviated, but they are not in this desert either. The only resident on the fourth day, in the earth below, a new empire is quietly brewing. This one is now hatching its first eggs. At this point, he needs more nutrients, and the source of these nutrients. Here are 50 black-skinned beetles. They're at the bottom of the food chain, mainly feeds on decaying substances and even bone marrow. For this, you also deliberately found a capsule from the wild. The skulls gave them an adequate food base. On the 35th day, the number of black-skinned beetles began to explode. Some small larvae have hatched into form. To find out the exact number of their group, you put a dead fish on the ground. The aroma of food began to spread in the air. Those guys hiding in the sand, attracted by the aroma, they hunt like hungry wolves. Soon a whole small dried fish. All that's left is a pile of debris. Seeing that their numbers are about to get out of control, so you quickly introduce a new superior predator, a dune gecko, and his family, young and old. But they seem to be looking for the wrong target when they come, since he had never seen a dark beetle before. Out of caution, he starts wagging his tail to intimidate each other. After a few seconds, see each other without showing weakness. He had to give up and take a detour. At the same time, another member of his family, exploring the capsule's skull. In the next few days, he will make this the perfect sanctuary. If you look down, you will find that there is a different hole below. The whole family lives here. One of them is even molting. It seems they have completely settled down here, while the gecko is molting on the other side of a parallel world. The first batch in the future. The little worker bee has been hatched and formed. They urgently need food at the moment, so these little crafts that have just hatched, you can only climb out of the cave. Group hunting is lucky for them. As soon as you go out, I met a half-dead beetle. Due to the size of the prey, they must work as a team to transport the prey back to the cave, and it has to be fast because the sky has already started to darken. Temperatures have plummeted. Not good. A sandstorm is coming. After the storm, a thin layer of red sand has been left on the surface, and in the middle canyon, there are also some dormant fish eggs. All you need is a little water. They can be born again. On the 45th day, the beetle population is still growing. You as God. They can only continue to introduce new predators. He is an extremely dangerous hunter. All the animals see him and they say in their hearts, start looking for a place to hide. But one of the geckos seems to be slow by a row. The locust has arrived behind him. His only chance of survival at this moment. Just run back to his cave in an instant. But he wasn't sure. Can you outrun the hunter behind you? But if you keep lying still, then all that awaits him is death. So in the choice between escape and death, he chose the former without hesitation. Soon came the 60th day. Days of intense heat have left the area extremely short of water. The leaves of most plants have turned yellow. Even the cacti are starting to wither. In this extreme weather, only ants hidden in the ground. The ant empire was not affected, and they tripled in size backwards. They stored huge amounts of food underground, enough to get them through the dry season. But seeing other species are deeply affected, as a god, you can only do it again. Therefore, a long-awaited storm arrived as planned. The rain was pouring down. The current began to gather in the canyon. As the water level continues to rise, the animals have to leave the canyon, search for higher habitats. After the storm has completely subsided, the animals discovered the previous canyon has turned into a river. So they all came to the river to drink. However, while drinking water, they also have to be extra careful, because locusts also come to the river. Look at danger approaching. The gecko can only turn and flee the scene, although the other party came to the river, also for a sip of water. But it's okay to be cautious. At the same time, beneath the calm river, previously dormant fish eggs, now it's finally starting to wake up and hatch. Newly hatched fish. It's about the size of a grain of sand. They got mixed up with dinosaurs and shrimp. Dance! On the 69th day, the moisturizing rain makes this place full of life. The animals started to form pairs. The gecko has got there first. 2 eggs were laid in the cave. Only the most powerful hunter locusts, still alone. Until nightfall, he keeps calling. May God grant him a significant other. Finally, you were moved by his future and delivered a significant other to him. However, this artificial marriage, it only lasted less than one night, and the next day, he becomes breakfast for his female counterparts. But his sacrifice was not for nothing. Female, after a full meal, I found a soft ground. They begin to multiply and lay eggs. This is nature's cruel posture. The male comes at the expense of his body. Let your genes continue. The rest of his body, it will not be wasted, because ant legions are everywhere. Their population has been completely overrun here, formed a huge super empire. To contain the continued expansion of the ant empire, you've introduced another predator. Their name, although word educators are small in size, but they can eat thousands of ants a year. They dive into the sand, then spin like crazy to form a funnel-shaped trap. As long as an ant accidentally falls into it, it's like being afraid of their death penalty, even if a few ants are lucky enough to get out. But you can't escape the serial traps they set. Just as the ant empire was being wiped out by the corpses, the river in the canyon is also full of life. Dinosaur shrimp populations have quietly grown up. Their historic mission has been completed. Start providing nutrients for the fish to grow. On the 90th day, the life of the female locust has also come to an end. He left the eggs safely in the ground, completed the mission of reproduction. However, the temporary absence of locusts, it also means that the beetle population is bound to get out of control again. Therefore, you can only catch another unpredator. Sunny bamboo is huge, like a crab. The body is covered with dense fluff. No beetle can escape his pursuit. And on day 99, this desert ecosystem has reached a perfect state. As a god, you know the truth about the decline of holiness. After prosperity comes another era. So you're ready to end this cruel ecology. Let everything return to its original state.